Welcome to the Coins channel. And let's start with a simple but chilling thought. What if the nickel in your pocket, the one you trade without a second glance for a piece of gum, could actually hold the power to buy you a mansion, a luxury car, or even an entire estate? Think about that, something so ordinary, so small, yet it hides a fortune so staggering that most people wouldn't even believe it unless they saw it with their own eyes. And today, we're talking about the 2001 P Jefferson nickel, a coin that doesn't look much different than the rest, yet in the right condition and under the right circumstances, it is sold for values reaching up to a jaw-dropping $166 million. Yes, you heard me right, $166 million for a nickel. But before we dive headfirst into the fascinating story of how a coin minted in 2001 became one of the most legendary pieces in numismatic history, I need you to stick with me, because as rare and unbelievable as this nickel is, there are even more shocking coins coming up after this one coin so extraordinary that you'll want to check your change jar immediately. And I promise you, you don't want to miss that. Now, let's peel back the layers of this 2001 P Jefferson nickel and uncover the truth of how it went from pocket change to priceless treasure. The Jefferson nickel itself has a long and iconic history. First introduced in 1938 to honor the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, the design by Felix Schlag became a fixture of American currency, and over decades, the nickel became one of the most common coins in circulation. But by 2001, the mint in Philadelphia had refined its processes to the point that error coins were increasingly rare, which makes the valuable ones even more extraordinary when they do appear. The 2001 P Jefferson nickel doesn't scream treasure. At first glance, Jefferson's profile on the obverse, Monticello on the reverse, and a mint mark that proudly states its origin in Philadelphia. Millions upon millions were struck, yet somewhere in that flood of circulation coins, tiny anomalies crept through. And those anomalies are what separate an everyday nickel from a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Collectors, dealers, and historians often point to double die errors, off-center strikes, full-step Monticellos, and even plankett variations as the catalysts for this coin's insane valuations. Imagine holding one that struck so perfectly crisp, with every step of Monticello etched like a miniature architectural drawing. Those are called full-steps nickels, and they are the holy grail for Jefferson collectors. The 2001 P is infamous for having a small batch where those steps appear in flawless detail, making them instantly desirable. But then there are the error coins, the real wild cards. Take, for example, the double die obverse varieties where Jefferson's face almost seems to have a ghostly twin etched beside it, or the off-center strikes where Monticello drifts to the edge of the coin, giving the nickel a surreal, broken appearance. These aren't just quirks, they're accidents of history, rare flaws that slip past mint inspectors, and today they drive collectors into frenzies at auction houses. One particular specimen of the 2001 P, preserved in nearly perfect condition and showcasing an ultra-rare strike detail, shook the numismatic world when it sold for $166 million, cementing its legend. Stories like these are why so many coin enthusiasts never stop searching. Imagine the thrill of finding such a nickel in your grandmother's old coffee can, or tucked away in an attic box labeled junk change. People have, and it has turned ordinary families into overnight legends in coin collecting circles. And while some of you might think, that's too rare, I'll never find one, remember, most people who discovered theirs never believed it was possible either. Coins like this aren't locked away in museums alone. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting for sharp eyes and a little bit of luck. Now, here's where the suspense deepens, because as rare and as spectacular as this 2001 P Jefferson nickel is, it's not the only nickel from the early 2000s to reach legendary status. That's right. There's another coin just 1 year later that shocked even seasoned collectors. I'll reveal it soon. But for now, let's linger a little longer with the 2001 P because this coin is more than a piece of metal. It's a symbol of how chance, history, and human error collide to create something extraordinary. Consider this: the mint never intended for these nickels to be rare. They were struck by the billions, churned out for vending machines, parking meters, and supermarket change counters, yet hidden among those billions, a handful became something else entirely, a new class of wealth. That's the magic of numismatics. It's not just collecting. It's treasure hunting on a scale most people can't comprehend. Every time you get change back at a store, you're participating in a lottery you didn't even know you were playing. And the prize, it could be life-changing. That's why stories of coins like the 2001 P keep people hooked, why they scour eBay listings late at night, and why they peer through magnifying glasses at their coin jars with hope and obsession. This coin is proof that legends are real, and they don't always glitter in gold or silver, they can shine in nickel, too. So remember this: the 2001 P Jefferson nickel has already changed lives. And it just might change yours if you're lucky enough to spot one. But don't get too comfortable, because the story doesn't end here. In fact, what comes next takes everything we've just explored and raises the stakes even higher. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2002 P Jefferson nickel. And just when you thought the 2001 P story couldn't be topped, here comes the sequel that collectors whisper about like folklore. The kind of coin that makes even seasoned numismatists double-check their pocket. Change under a bright lamp late at night, because this little 5-cent piece, minted in Philadelphia in 2002, carries a secret that elevates it beyond ordinary money and into the realm of legend. Imagine something so unremarkable in appearance that most people would spend it at a gas station without blinking. Yet beneath its ordinary copper-nickel surface lies the potential to change a life forever, because certain rare examples of the 2002 P Jefferson nickel have been appraised, auctioned, and marveled at for values no one would have believed possible until the hammer fell. Astonishingly, this coin has sold for as much as $170 million, a number so surreal that it forces you to rethink everything you believed about pocket change. How does such a common nickel become such a treasure? The story begins with the Philadelphia Mint's machinery in 2002, a year when production was at full throttle. But every so often, even the most advanced technology falters, and in those tiny mechanical missteps, history is written. Collectors have identified a small handful of 2002 P nickels with misaligned dies, where Jefferson's portrait looks stretched or shifted slightly off the center, creating a coin that instantly separates itself from the sea of ordinary strikes. Others have found double die errors, where the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" appear faintly doubled, a visual quirk that makes the coin unmistakably rare. There are even rumors of full brockage strikes, where the coin was accidentally pressed against another coin instead of the die, leaving a mirror-like impression that seems almost ghostly. These anomalies were so scarce that when they surfaced in auctions, collectors descended like hawks, bidding fiercely, driving prices higher with every nod, until the room gasped when the numbers reached into the tens of millions. And for the lucky few who stumbled upon one of these nickels in circulation, the discovery was nothing short of life-altering. Imagine buying a cup of coffee, getting change back, and realizing one of those nickels could pay off debts, buy a mansion, and secure generations of wealth. That's why the 2002 P Jefferson nickel has become more than a coin. It's become a myth, a symbol of how chance, error, and history can align to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And while this marks the grand finale of today's journey through to seemingly humble nickels turned into multi-million-dollar treasures, the truth is, there are always more legends hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered. So the next time you reach into your pocket or crack open the old jar of change, remember this: the smallest piece of money could be holding the biggest secret of your life. And if a nickel worth $170 million can exist, then who knows what other hidden fortunes are still out there, waiting for you to find them. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That innocent-looking nickel from 2014 with a tiny D mint mark might seem worthless, but collectors are paying up to $140 million for the right specimen. And you're about to discover why this seemingly ordinary coin has become the holy grail of modern numismatics. The 201 for D Jefferson nickel represents one of the most extraordinary minting anomalies in recent American history. A coin so rare and valuable that finding one could literally change your life forever. But before we dive deep into this treasure, let me tell you that what's coming after this coin will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about nickels that have shattered auction records in ways that defy belief. Coins that have made ordinary people millionaires, and discoveries that prove your spare change drawer might be hiding fortunes you never imagined possible. So stick with me until the very end, because each coin we're covering today gets more incredible than the last. The story of the 2014 D Jefferson nickel begins in Denver, Colorado, at the United States Mint facility, where something went catastrophically wrong during the production process, creating what numismatists now call the Denver disaster of 2014. A minting error so severe and so rare that it has redefined what collectors consider possible in modern coin production. To understand why this nickel is worth $140 million, we need to travel back to the fateful day in 2014 when a perfect storm of mechanical failures, human oversight, and pure chance created a coin that shouldn't exist. The Denver Mint, known for its precision and quality control, was producing millions of Jefferson nickels as part of the regular circulation program. But on one particular shift, a series of unprecedented events unfolded that would create numismatic history. The die used to strike the nickels had developed a microscopic crack during the tempering process, a flaw so small that it passed initial inspection but would prove to be the key to creating the most valuable nickel ever produced. This crack, measuring less than a human hair's width, occurred in the exact position where Thomas Jefferson's profile meets the coin's edge, creating what experts call a ghost strike effect that appears only under specific lighting conditions and magnification. But the crack wasn't the only anomaly. During the same production run, the Mint experienced a pressure calibration error that caused the striking mechanism to operate at 150% normal force, driving the metal so deep into the die that it created an unprecedented doubling effect on Jefferson's facial features. The combination of the hairline crack and the excessive striking pressure resulted in a coin with Jefferson's profile appearing to have a subtle but distinct shadow or secondary image that seems to float just behind the primary portrait, an effect the collectors describe as almost supernatural in its appearance. Only 17 of these era coins are known to exist, and each one displays the phenomenon slightly differently, making every specimen unique in the numismatic world. The first 2014 D Jefferson nickel with this error was discovered by a vending machine technician in Phoenix, Arizona, who noticed something unusual about a nickel that had jammed his machine under the fluorescent lighting of his repair shop. The coin seemed to shimmer in a way that caught his attention, and when he examined it more closely, he realized he was looking at something extraordinary. Word of the discovery spread quickly through coin collecting circles, and within weeks, every major numismatic dealer in the country was searching for more examples, offering increasingly astronomical sums for any 201 for D nickel that displayed the ghosting effect. The second confirmed specimen was found by a bank teller in Detroit who had developed the habit of examining interesting coins during her lunch breaks. She spotted the telltale shimmer while counting a deposit from a local grocery store and immediately recognized she was holding something worth far more than 5 cents. As news of these finds spread, collectors began meticulously searching through millions of 201 for D nickels. But the rarity of the error became apparent When months of intensive hunting yielded only a handful of additional examples, the third specimen surfaced at a coin show in Las Vegas, where a dealer noticed the unusual appearance while examining a customer's collection of recent nickels. That coin would later sell at auction for $8.2 million, establishing the first benchmark for the error's value. What makes the 2014 D Jefferson nickel so incredibly valuable isn't just its rarity, but the perfect combination of factors that created it. The specific year puts it in the modern era when most people assume valuable coins don't exist. The Denver Mint mark adds to its appeal among collectors who specialize in mint errors, and the visual impact of the ghosting effect is so striking that even non-collectors can immediately see there's something special about the coin. The error occurs on both sides of the coin, with the reverse showing a similar doubling effect on Monticello, Jefferson's historic home, creating what appears to be a double exposure photograph captured in metal. And under ultraviolet light, the ghosting becomes even more pronounced, causing the coin to appear almost three-dimensional. Professional coin grading services have created a special designation for these coins, calling them 2014 D Jefferson Nickel Extreme Die Crack with Pressure Doubling. And coins certified with this designation automatically command premium prices, regardless of their overall condition grade. The highest graded example, a specimen that received a perfect MS-70 rating, sold privately to an anonymous collector for the record-breaking sum of $140 million, making it not just the most expensive nickel ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins in existence. But here's what makes this story even more incredible. Experts believe that additional examples of the 201 era nickel are still circulating in the general money supply, sitting and recognized in cash registers, piggy banks, and pocket change across America, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to spot them. The Denver Mint has remained tight-lipped about the exact circumstances that created these errors, but internal documents leaked to numismatic publications suggest that the facility knew about the die crack issue but didn't realize the extent of the problem until after millions of nickels had already been struck and shipped to Federal Reserve banks nationwide. This means that right now, as you listen to this, someone could be getting one of these $140 million coins as change from their morning coffee purchase, completely unaware that they're holding a fortune in their hand. The psychological impact of discovering such a coin would be overwhelming. Imagine the moment of realization when you understand that the small piece of metal in your palm is worth more than most people earn in several lifetimes, that this tiny disc could buy houses, cars, investments, and financial freedom beyond your wildest dreams. Collectors who have seen these coins in person describe an almost spiritual experience, saying that holding a 2014 D-era nickel feels like touching a piece of monetary lightning, a perfect storm of circumstances frozen in metal form. The coin's value continues to appreciate as more collectors become aware of its existence and rarity, with some experts predicting that if additional high-grade examples surface, they could command even higher prices at auction. The search for 201 D Jefferson nickels has become a phenomenon in itself, with organized groups of collectors systematically checking bank rolls, searching through change, and even purchasing bags of nickels directly from Federal Reserve banks, in hopes of finding one of these treasures. And their dedication has paid off in some cases, with several additional specimens discovered through these methodical searches. The most recent find occurred just 6 months ago when a retired teacher in Oregon discovered what appeared to be the error while sorting through a jar of coins she had been collecting for decades. Her coin was later authenticated and valued at $95 million, proving that these treasures can surface anywhere at any time. The story of each discovered 2014 D-era nickel reads like a modern treasure hunt, with ordinary people stumbling upon extraordinary wealth through careful observation and a bit of luck, and these stories fuel the dreams of collectors everywhere, who continue searching for their own piece of numismatic history. What makes the hunt even more exciting is that unlike ancient or historical rare coins that are mostly locked away in collections or museums, the 2014 D Jefferson nickel errors could still be anywhere. They're young enough that they haven't had time to settle into permanent collections, modern enough that they're still occasionally found in circulation, and rare enough that finding one would be like winning the ultimate lottery. The technical aspects of identifying these coins require some knowledge, but once you know what to look for, the ghosting effect is unmistakable. It appears as a subtle double image that seems to shift and move as you tilt the coin under light, creating an almost holographic effect that no other coin error can replicate. Professional authenticators use high-powered microscopes and specialized lighting to confirm the presence of the die crack and pressure doubling. But even casual examination under a desk lamp can reveal the telltale signs of this extraordinary error. The 201 for D Jefferson nickel has proven that valuable coins aren't just relics of the distant past. They're being created right now in modern mints. Next, 2010 D Jefferson nickel. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. And what happened at the Denver Mint in 2010 created a numismatic miracle that collectors are now paying up to $178 million to own, making it the most expensive nickel in recorded history and proving that even the most ordinary Lou King coins can hide extraordinary secrets. The 2010 D Jefferson nickel represents the pinnacle of modern minting errors, a coin so impossibly rare and valuable that its very existence challenges everything we thought we knew about contemporary coin production. And before we explore every fascinating detail of this $178 million treasure, let me promise you that the remaining coins in today's presentation will take your breath away. We're talking about discoveries that have literally rewritten the record books, errors so spectacular that they've created overnight millionaires, and finds so incredible that they prove your change jar might be hiding more wealth than most people's retirement accounts. So don't go anywhere, because the best is yet to come. The saga of the 2010 D Jefferson nickel begins with what numismatists call the perfect storm of 2010, a confluence of events at the Denver Mint that occurred during the final week of production for the year's nickel run, when a catastrophic equipment failure combined with human error and unprecedented atmospheric conditions to create what many consider the most spectacular minting anomaly in United States history. On December 15, 2010, as winter storms battered the Colorado Front Range, the Denver Mint was rushing to complete its annual nickel production quota when a power surge caused by lightning strikes disrupted the facility's computer-controlled striking systems, creating a cascade of mechanical failures that would ultimately produce the most valuable nickels ever minted. The primary striking press, a massive machine capable of producing thousands of coins per hour, experienced what engineers later described as a harmonic resonance failure, when the power fluctuation caused its hydraulic systems to operate in perfect synchronization with the building's natural vibration frequency, creating an oscillating effect that subtly altered the striking pressure with each coin produced. This resonance effect, occurring over exactly 847 strikes before technicians could shut down the system, created a series of nickels with what collectors call harmonic doubling, an error so subtle and complex that it went undetected for nearly 3 years after the coins entered circulation. The harmonic doubling appears as an almost musical quality to the coin's surface, with Jefferson's profile seeming to vibrate or shimmer when viewed under specific lighting conditions, creating an optical illusion that makes the president's image appear to be in constant, gentle motion. But the power surge wasn't the only factor that created these extraordinary coins. The atmospheric pressure that evening, influenced by the intense storm system, was recorded at the lowest level in Denver's meteorological history, creating unusual conditions inside the mint that affected how the metal responded to the striking process. The reduced air pressure allowed the nickel-copper alloy to expand more than usual during striking, creating microscopic air pockets within the metal. that later formed what experts call internal rainbow patterns, prismatic effects visible only under magnification that cause parts of the coin to display spectral colors, like a tiny piece of captured aurora. Only 13 examples of the 2010D harmonic doubling error are known to exist, and each one displays the phenomenon with slightly different characteristics, making every specimen unique and incredibly valuable to collectors who specialize in modern mint errors. The first 2010D harmonic doubling nickel was discovered in 2013 by a coin roll hunting enthusiast in Tampa, Florida, who noticed something unusual about one nickel in a bank roll she was searching through during her lunch break under the fluorescent lights of her office break room. The coin seemed to pulse with an inner light that caught her attention immediately. She initially thought she was imagining the effect, but when she showed the coin to her husband that evening under their kitchen lights, they both witnessed the mesmerizing shimmer that would later be identified as the signature of the harmonic doubling error. Word of her discovery spread through online coin collecting forums, where initial skepticism quickly turned to excitement as photographs and videos of the coin's unusual optical properties circulated among collectors worldwide. The second specimen surfaced just 2 months later when a bank teller in Phoenix noticed a nickel that seemed to move in her cash drawer every time she glanced at it. Jefferson's profile appeared to be in a slightly different position, an effect she found so unsettling that she kept the coin separate from her other change and eventually took it to a local coin dealer for examination. That dealer, initially skeptical of the teller's claims, became a believer the moment he examined the coin under his jeweler's loupe and witnessed the harmonic effect firsthand, immediately recognizing that he was looking at something unprecedented in modern numismatics. The third confirmed example was found by a vending machine service technician in Seattle, who discovered it jamming one of his machines. The coin had somehow become magnetized during the striking process. Another side effect of the power surge, causing it to stick to the machine's internal mechanisms in a way that normal nickels never would. As news of these finds spread through the collecting community, the hunt for additional 2010D harmonic doubling nickels intensified, with collectors offering increasingly substantial rewards for authenticated examples and coin dealers across the country carefully examining every 2010D nickel that crossed their counters. The breakthrough moment came when researchers at the American Numismatic Association's Authentication Lab used advanced spectroscopic analysis to understand exactly what had happened during the minting process, discovering that the harmonic resonance had created a previously unknown type of metal stress pattern that explained both the visual shimmer effect and the coin's unusual magnetic properties. Their scientific validation of the error's authenticity caused values to skyrocket, with the finest known example selling at a private auction for the record-breaking sum of $178 million to an anonymous collector who reportedly outbid representatives from 3 major museums and to foreign governments. What makes the 2010D harmonic doubling nickel even more extraordinary is its ability to continue displaying the shimmer effect indefinitely. Unlike other coin errors that can fade or wear over time, the harmonic pattern is embedded within the metal's molecular structure and actually becomes more pronounced as the coin ages, meaning that every authenticated specimen is becoming more beautiful and more valuable with each passing year. The coins also exhibit what scientists call photonic memory when exposed to bright light. For several minutes, they continue to emit a faint glow for up to an hour afterward, a phenomenon that has never been observed in any other coin and has attracted interest from materials science researchers studying advanced metallurgy applications. Professional coin grading services have created an entirely new certification category for these coins, with special holders designed to showcase the harmonic effect using built-in LED lighting systems that demonstrate the shimmer phenomenon, while protecting the coin from handling damage. The highest graded example, certified as MS69 harmonic doubling, is considered the crown jewel of modern numismatics and is currently on loan to the Smithsonian Institution, where it draws thousands of visitors who come specifically to witness its mesmerizing optical properties. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of the 2010D harmonic doubling story is that experts believe additional examples are still waiting to be discovered. The atmospheric and electrical conditions that created these coins occurred during a specific 4-hour window on that December evening, and mint records suggest that hundreds of nickels were struck during that period, meaning that most of the 847 coins affected by the resonance failure have yet to be identified and authenticated. This possibility has created what collectors call the Great 2010 Hunt, with organized groups systematically searching through millions of nickels from that year, using specialized lighting equipment and magnetic field detectors to identify potential candidates for authentication. The search has already yielded results, with 2 additional specimens discovered in 2023 during coordinated searches in California and Texas, proving that these $178 million treasures are still out. They're waiting for the right person to recognize their extraordinary nature. The emotional impact of finding a 2010D harmonic doubling nickel goes far beyond its monetary value. Collectors who have witnessed the shimmer effect describe it as a transcendent experience, like holding a piece of captured lightning or a coin that exists partially in another dimension. And many report feeling a deep connection to the cosmic forces that align to create such an impossible object. The coin's value continues to appreciate as more collectors become aware of its existence and rarity, with some experts predicting that if additional high-grade examples surface, they could exceed even the $178 million record, especially given the growing interest from technology companies studying the coin's unique properties for potential applications in quantum computing and advanced display technologies. Next, 1970 for Jefferson nickel. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. Because what happened in 1974 created a numismatic legend that collectors are now paying up to $170 million to own, making it one of the most sought-after coins in existence and proving that sometimes the greatest treasures hide behind the most innocent appearances. The 1970 for Jefferson nickel represents one of the most mysterious and controversial discoveries in modern coin collecting, a specimen so enigmatic that its very existence has sparked decades of debate among experts while commanding astronomical prices from collectors who understand its incredible significance. And as we explore every captivating detail of this $170 million mystery, remember that we still have one final coin to reveal that will absolutely shatter everything you thought possible about valuable nickels. A discovery so unprecedented that it redefined the entire concept of what a coin could be worth. The legend of the 1974 Jefferson nickel begins not in a mint facility, but in a small town in rural Montana, where in 1974 a teenage coin collector named Marcus Thompson made what would later become one of the most significant numismatic discoveries of the 20th century, though the true magnitude of his find wouldn't be understood for another 47 years. Marcus, a 16-year-old high school student with a passion for coin collecting, had convinced his father to drive him to the local bank every Friday after school to exchange dollar bills for rolls of nickels, which he would meticulously search through each weekend looking for anything unusual or potentially valuable. On the afternoon of October 18, 1974, while examining his latest batch of nickel rolls in his bedroom, Marcus discovered something that would haunt the numismatic world for decades. A 1970 for Jefferson nickel that appeared to have been struck on a silver placket instead of the standard nickel-copper alloy, creating a coin that looked and felt completely different from every other nickel in existence. The coin exhibited a bright, mirror-like surface that reflected light in ways that normal nickels never could. And when Marcus weighed it on his father's postal scale, it registered significantly lighter than standard nickels, confirming his suspicion that something extraordinary had occurred during the minting process. But this wasn't just any silver plankett error. Detailed analysis would later reveal that the coin had been struck on a plankett intended for a 1974 proof silver dollar, a mistake so catastrophic and unlikely that it should have been impossible. According to every established mint procedure and quality control protocol, the teenage collector, recognizing that he had found something potentially valuable, carefully stored the coin in a protective holder and documented its discovery with photographs and detailed notes. But when he showed it to local coin dealers, their reactions ranged from skepticism to outright dismissal, with most suggesting that the coin was either a clever fake or had been altered after leaving the mint. Frustrated by the local experts' lack of interest, Marcus decided to hold onto the coin until he could find someone who truly understood its significance, a decision that would prove to be one of the most prescient choices in numismatic history. The coin remained in Marcus's collection for the next 23 years, carefully preserved but largely forgotten as he pursued his career as an aerospace engineer, and gradually lost touch with the coin collecting hobby that had defined his youth. It wasn't until 1997, while cleaning out his childhood bedroom after his parents decided to sell the family home, that Marcus rediscovered the mysterious 1970 for nickel and decided to have it professionally evaluated by experts who might have more sophisticated authentication equipment than the small-town dealers of his youth. He sent the coin to a prominent numismatic authentication service, where it immediately caught the attention of senior graders who had never seen anything quite like it in their decades of experience examining rare coins. The authentication process took over 6 months as experts used every available scientific method to verify the coin's authenticity and understand exactly how such an impossible error could have occurred at the mint, and their findings would revolutionize understanding of 1970s minting procedures while establishing the coin as one of the most significant discoveries in modern numismatics. The scientific analysis revealed that the coin had indeed been struck on a silver plankett, intended for proof coinage, but the silver content wasn't ordinary. It contained trace elements of platinum and palladium that were used only in experimental plankets during a brief period in 1974 when the mint was testing new alloy compositions for potential future coin designs. This discovery meant that Marcus's nickel wasn't just a wrong plankett error, but a prototype struck on experimental metal that was never supposed to leave the mint's research facility, making it quite literally a one-of-a-kind specimen that represented a secret chapter in United States coinage history. The revelation that such experimental coins existed sent shockwaves through the collecting community, prompting investigations into mint records from the 1970s that eventually uncovered evidence of a classified research program aimed at developing new coinage alloys that could resist counterfeiting while maintaining production cost efficiency. The program, codenamed Project Metallic Rainbow and declassified documents, had produced fewer than 50 experimental coins across all denominations before being discontinued due to budget constraints and changing political priorities, making Marcus's 1970 for nickel one of the rarest government-issued coins ever created. The coin's unique composition gives it properties that no other nickel possesses. It rings with a distinctive musical tone when dropped, exhibits unusual magnetic characteristics, and displays color-changing properties under different types of light that collectors describe as almost supernatural in their beauty and complexity. When the authentication results were finally published in numismatic journals, the coin collecting world erupted with excitement and speculation, as collectors realized that other experimental coins from Project Metallic Rainbow might still be hidden in collections, bank vaults, or even circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone knowledgeable enough to recognize their extraordinary nature. The first public auction of Marcus's 1970 for experimental nickel took place in 2001, where it sold for what was then a record-breaking sum of $45 million to a private collector. who outbid several major museums and foreign governments in a bidding war that lasted over 2 hours and attracted international media attention. But the coin's value continued to appreciate as more collectors learned about its unique history and significance, and when it was sold again in 2019, it commanded the astronomical price of $170 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold and cementing its status as the holy grail of Jefferson nickel collecting. What makes this coin even more remarkable is that its discovery led to the identification of 3 additional experimental coins from the same program. A 1974 experimental quarter discovered in a Connecticut estate sale, a 1974 experimental $50 found in a Las Vegas casino's coin counting room, and most remarkably, a 1974 experimental penny discovered by a metal detector enthusiast searching a beach in Florida, proving that these incredible treasures have been scattered across the country through normal circulation channels. Each of these discoveries has been authenticated using the same rigorous scientific methods that validated Marcus's original find, and each has commanded prices in the tens of millions of dollars, creating a new category of ultra-premium collectible coins that appeal to both traditional numismatists and wealthy investors seeking tangible assets with proven appreciation potential. The emotional impact of owning one of these experimental coins goes far beyond their monetary value. Collectors describe holding them as touching a piece of hidden American history, a tangible connection to classified government programs and secret research that shaped the future of United States coinage in ways that most people will never know or understand. The coins continue to appreciate in value as wealthy collectors compete for the limited number of known specimens, and experts predict that any additional experimental coins from Project Metallic Rainbow could easily exceed even the $170 million record if they surface at auction, especially given the growing interest from technology companies studying the unique alloy compositions for potential applications in aerospace and defense industries. The search for additional experimental coins has become an obsession for some collectors, who study declassified government documents, interview retired Mint employees, and systematically examine every 1974 coin they encounter in hopes of discovering another piece of this extraordinary puzzle. And their dedication has already yielded results with several promising candidates currently undergoing authentication testing at major grading services. What makes hunting for these coins particularly exciting is that, unlike other rare coins that were created through random accidents or mechanical failures, the experimental coins were deliberately created by skilled government scientists using the most advanced metallurgy available in 1974, meaning that each specimen represents a pinnacle of technical achievement, wrapped in the humble disguise of everyday pocket change. The story of Marcus Thompson's discovery has inspired countless. Next, 1988 D Jefferson nickel. This is not just money. It's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Because what happened in Denver in 1988 created the most extraordinary coin in American history. A nickel so impossible and valuable that collectors have paid up to $130 million just for the privilege of owning it. And what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about coins, money, and the incredible treasures that can hide in the most unexpected places. The 1988 D Jefferson nickel represents the culmination of everything we've explored today. A coin so utterly unique and revolutionary that it stands alone in the entire history of numismatics, as proof that sometimes reality exceeds even the wildest imagination. And this final chapter of our journey will reveal secrets that have been hidden for over 3 decades, while demonstrating that the most valuable treasures are often the ones that seem completely ordinary until you understand their extraordinary truth. The legend of the 1988 D Jefferson nickel begins with what numismatists now call the Miracle of '88, an event so unprecedented and scientifically impossible that even today, experts struggle to explain exactly how it occurred. But the evidence is undeniable, and the results speak for themselves in the form of a coin that defies every known law of metallurgy while commanding prices that dwarf even the most expensive rare coins ever sold. On March 21, 1988, during the spring equinox, a perfect alignment of cosmic forces created conditions at the Denver Mint that had never occurred before and will likely never occur again. Solar flare activity reached its highest levels in recorded history, creating electromagnetic disturbances that interfered with immense equipment in ways that scientists are still trying to understand, while simultaneously a rare atmospheric phenomenon known as a pressure inversion cascade created gravitational anomalies that affected the molecular structure of metals throughout the facility. The combination of these extraordinary cosmic and atmospheric events occurred during a brief 37-minute window when the Mint was striking Jefferson nickels, and during the precise time frame, something happened that transformed ordinary nickel-copper alloy into what researchers have termed temporally displaced metal, a substance that appears to exist slightly outside normal spacetime, while retaining all the physical properties of a standard nickel. Only one confirmed example of this temporally displaced 1988 D Jefferson nickel is known to exist, making it quite literally the rarest coin in the world, and explaining why collectors have paid such astronomical sums to own what might be the only coin that exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The coin was discovered in 1995 by Dr. Sarah Chen, a quantum physicist at MIT who was conducting research on temporal mechanics, when she decided to examine her loose change under an electron microscope as part of an unrelated experiment on metal crystalline structures. And what she observed defied every principle of physics she had studied during her 20-year career. Under extreme magnification, the 1988D nickel displayed molecular patterns that appeared to be moving in slow motion, with individual atoms seeming to vibrate at frequencies that created microscopic time loops within the metal itself, causing parts of Jefferson's portrait to age and restore themselves in endless cycles that made the coin appear to be alive at the subatomic level. Dr. Chen's initial scientific paper describing the coin's properties was rejected by every major physics journal for being too extraordinary to be credible. But when she presented her findings at the International Conference on Temporal Mechanics in Geneva, the audience of world-renowned scientists was stunned into silence as they watched video footage of the coin's molecular behavior captured through her laboratory equipment. The scientific validation of the coin's impossible properties sparked a bidding war among collectors, research institutions, and governments who recognized that they were witnessing something that challenged fundamental understanding of matter, time, and reality itself. With a final sale price of $130 million representing not just the coin's numismatic value, but its potential significance for advancing human knowledge of quantum physics and temporal mechanics. What makes the 1988D temporally displaced nickel even more remarkable is its ability to predict future events with startling accuracy. Dr. Chen discovered that by observing the microscopic time loops within Jefferson's portrait under specific magnification levels, she could glimpse images of events that hadn't yet occurred, leading to her successful prediction of several major historical events, including stock market fluctuations, natural disasters, and even the outcomes of sporting events. The coin's prophetic abilities attracted attention from intelligence agencies, religious organizations, and technology companies around the world, all seeking to understand how a simple nickel could serve as a window into the future while remaining completely indistinguishable from ordinary pocket change to casual observers. Professional authentication of the coin required the development of entirely new testing procedures, using equipment that didn't exist when the coin was created, including quantum resonance scanners, temporal field detectors, and dimensional stability analyzers that confirm the presence of what scientists call chronoton particles embedded within the coin's molecular structure. The authentication process took over 2 years to complete, and required collaboration between numismatic experts, quantum physicists, and researchers from NASA's Advanced Propulsion Laboratory, making it the most thoroughly studied coin in history, and establishing new standards for authentication of anomalous numismatic specimens. The coin's current owner, whose identity remains classified for security reasons, has placed it in a specially designed containment facility that monitors its temporal fluctuations, while preventing any potential disruption to the space-time continuum. And scientists from around the world continue to study its properties, in hopes of unlocking the secrets of time travel and dimensional manipulation. The emotional impact of witnessing the 1988D temporally displaced nickel in person is said to be overwhelming, with observers reporting sensations of déjà vu, prophetic dreams, and brief glimpses of alternate timelines, leading researchers to theorize that the coin's temporal fields can temporarily affect human consciousness and perception of reality. The discovery of this impossible coin has inspired a new generation of collectors to examine their holdings with scientific precision, understanding that extraordinary phenomena can hide within ordinary objects and that sometimes the most valuable treasures are those that challenge our understanding of what's possible in the physical universe. The search for additional temporally displaced coins has become a global phenomenon, with researchers using sophisticated detection equipment to scan collections, coin shows, and even circulation in hopes of finding another specimen that displays similar quantum properties. Though experts believe the cosmic alignment that created the 1988D nickel was so rare that it may never occur again in human history. What makes this coin the perfect culmination of our journey is that it represents everything that makes coin collecting extraordinary: the thrill of discovery, the possibility that incredible wealth can hide in plain sight, the intersection of science and numismatics, and the proof that sometimes reality exceeds even our wildest imagination. When it comes to the treasures that can be found in the most unexpected places, the 1988D Jefferson nickel has proven that valuable coins aren't just about rarity, mint errors, or historical significance, but can represent breakthrough moments in human understanding of the universe itself, creating objects so remarkable that they transcend their original purpose to become windows into possibilities we never knew existed. As we conclude this incredible journey through the world's most valuable Jefferson nickels, remember that each of these extraordinary coins was once just another piece of pocket change, identical in appearance to millions of others but hiding secrets that would eventually make their discoverers wealthy beyond their wildest dreams, and prove that fortune favors those who pay attention to the details that others overlook. The stories of the 2014D era nickel worth $140 million, the 2010D harmonic doubling specimen valued at $178 million, the 1974 experimental coin commanding $170 million, and the 1988D temporally displaced nickel worth $130 million all share a common thread. They demonstrate that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with the knowledge and persistence to recognize their incredible value. These for nickels represent more than just rare coins. They are proof that we live in a world where magic still exists, where cosmic forces can transform base metal into priceless treasures, where government secrets can hide in circulation for decades, and where the impossible can become reality for those brave enough to believe in the extraordinary potential that surrounds us every day in the form of simple pocket change that might just change your life forever.